They allowed teams in the Esports World Cups to don pride flags, which is huge. And they've also relaxed laws on what women should wear in the past few years. They want to shift their economy to tourism and entertainment. Yep, I think that's what's going to happen.
Esports in 2024 is a curious case indeed. As big investors are stepping out, Saudi Arabia has been stepping in, pouring billions into this thriving yet very fragmented industry.
You have to keep in mind, it's not just Saudi Arabia. It's also gambling.
Is Saudi Arabia generally boosting esports, or is it a strategic play at the cost of the industry's independence?
Both.
With concerns about an esports monopoly, I will unpack Saudi Arabia's potential impact on the industry. What's in store for esports? Global recognition or commercial exploitation? $2.3 billion.
It sounds stupid, but I love that they still have the old sword as the fucking flag. And the logo there. There it is. Yeah, it's cool. It is. It's cool.
That's the massive size of my bank account, but of the esports market today.
Yeah.
With 540 million global viewers, esports is huge in entertainment, rivaling traditional sports. Viewership alone will grow and skyrocket over the upcoming years.
Keep in mind that this is very contextualized around it being worldwide. And if you looked at this from a limited slice of simply Western esports viewership, which is what we're really existing in, because we're all Westerners, or at least we're primarily in English language. This is not reflective of our graph, but worldwide it's growing massively.
Peak events drawing millions of viewers.
Yep.
Top pro gamers are raking in millions and have become household names backed by serious money from VC to state funds. But
to be fair, by the way, I want to add in a little bit of TSM had a massive situation, and Nadeshot went on record recently. Nadeshot's the guy that started 100 Thieves. Went on record recently, and he said that he regrets getting into esports, which is crazy.
Household names backed by serious money from VC to state funds. But it's not all smooth sailing. What did you think? No. Despite the growth, key investors are bailing left and right. The money they expected in return was just not rolling in. They were making unrealistic comparisons to traditional sports, betting on massive returns from packed stadiums and merchandise.
Is build a league that is like the NFL.
You were so fucking wrong about that, Bobby. Like, what the fuck were you thinking, man? Like, this is, I think, Bobby's biggest L was Overwatch League. It was, because Bobby's not stupid. Anybody that thinks Bobby is stupid is stupid. Bobby is like he's the closest thing that you have to a money printing machine. How the fuck did you think this was going to be a good idea? What? Look at the graphs. Look at his graphs. The guy's crazy.
Only global.
But comparing the Overwatch League to the NFL, well, in hindsight, that was a stretch, especially when it came to operational costs.
But when you look at the way we structured the league, the operating costs should be a lot lower than what you'd see in other traditional sports.
They were.
But their financial strain grew and caused massive downfalls of major leagues like the Overwatch League, CLG, and FaZe Clan. Even 100 Thieves, the second most valuable esports team in the world, had to let go 20% of it.
This is also something that happened a lot because of COVID, is that you saw a lot of esports orgs and different types of content orgs that overhired for COVID. And then after venture capitalist money dried up, and people stopped investing because the returns weren't there and the COVID money kind of went away, then you saw things change a lot because of that. There's no such thing as a successful esports org. I think there are. It's just the successful esport orgs, you can't pronounce their names.
Workforce.
I think a lot of people who bought into teams,
like Chinese,
not just esports themselves, had no idea how bad a business it was.
Yeah, I'm just joking.
No idea.
Sure.
In aggregate, it's a good business. Is it growing? Yes. But domestically here in the United States,
he knows.
It's an awful business.
So with little...
Yeah, what he tried to get into it. I forgot what he tried to do, Mark Cuban. But he knows this shit. Yeah. Was it Faker? I don't remember. Yeah, but he's seen the numbers himself. Went downhill? Yeah.
ROI, sponsors like BMW and HP didn't stick around either and put their sponsorships elsewhere. But what are BMW and HP compared to the heavyweight champion of wealth? Saudi Arabia, a country that went from this to this. Thanks to its large oil reserves. Home to the world's largest airport, the largest desert, the tallest fountain. Saudi Arabia is now pouring resources into...
Is it really an accomplishment to have the biggest desert? I feel like that's just kind of something that happens on its own, right? Yeah, like... Yeah, it's kind of just RNG.
Esports aiming to become, of course, the largest gaming hub in the world. A strategic move that aligns with Vision 2030, a government plan to diversify the economy and reduce its dependence.
That's the thing Trump was trying to do, bro. Now it's all coming together.
On oil. Because when the oil price dropped in 2014, it became very clear that oil dependency is a risky business. And the person in charge? Mohammed bin Salman, known as MBS or Mr. Everything, as he oversees virtually everything. Under his rule, there have already been some modern reforms. Women are now allowed to drive.
All I can think about,
I remember I talked to a friend of mine in Saudi Arabia, and he said that the reason why women don't want to drive is because they're lazy and they just don't want to. He was like explaining it to me. And like we were all on a call, it was like me and like 3 other guys were like, really? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. I don't know. Like his family was like they were doing pretty well, right? And so, like, they're neither of their parents drive because they had their own driver, and so, yeah, they were chilling.
And still do my own stuff.
Women may travel abroad alone, and cinemas reopened after 35 years.
It's a big moment for the kingdom, and they're banking on Marvel for the first opening.
Fun fact, MBS is also a massive gamer.
What do you do to blow off steam? When you want to relax, like what do you have fun doing?
Video games.
Oh, what's that? Video games. You're a big gamer.
Since I'm a kid, I love it.
For MBS, esports is one of the most important industries on the planet with an expected 25% profit from its investments.
It's like beating Hollywood today. So one of the streamers on esports, he have more...
It's actually true, by the way. Like, esports and, like, gaming is fucking massive.
Than 2 billion views, more than the biggest Hollywood movie.
In fact, the MENA gaming market is booming, with 6 to a projected $10 billion by 2029. Saudi Arabia's gaming market alone stands at $1 billion, with a projected $3 billion by 2030. And with 23 million gamers, it's the largest market by games revenue in that region. Another fun fact, 70% of Saudis are under 35 years old. That's the...
Yeah, a lot of them love gaming. Like, I don't know, like, I never realized this, but I think it's like I have a lot of... Like, I'm definitely, like, a Western culture guy, but there's a lot of overlap between me and, like, I guess you'd say, like, Muslim ideology, right? The no gambling, no drinking, no credit cards, nothing like that, right? And so there's a lot of overlap, and I have a lot of people that watch from the Middle East. A lot of people. I didn't realize it was such a big number. I had no idea. You have pork, though? Honestly, I like bacon, but every pork chop I eat is a steak I don't eat. So I don't really eat pork chop. Yeah, I'll eat bacon, but that's it.
Perfect audience for esports events, such as the Gamers 8 Festival, organized by the Saudi Esports Federation. Last year, it had a prize pool of $45 million, the largest one in esports history and surpassing the previous one. The SEF is also supporting female gamers with initiatives like the All-Women CSGO Tournament and Gamers Without Borders.
Yep.
The money invested into esports comes from Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund, the PIF. It's the 6th largest of its kind and financial powerhouse behind every major Saudi initiative. Just look at its...
I want to say also that let's go back and look at these graphs. Okay.
behind
Norway?
every
Yeah, I
major
didn't know about
Saudi
the Norway
initiative.
thing.
Just look at its gaming portfolio. The PIF invested $3 billion in Nintendo, $3.3 in Activision, Blizzard, $1 billion in Capcom and Nexon, $3 billion in EA, $1.3 in Take-Two, $1.5 in ESL. The list goes on, but then my editor would be animating until forever. And then there's the Savvy Games Group, a subsidiary of the PIF. The Savvy Games Group plans to create 250 gaming companies and 50,000 jobs with a GDP contribution of $13 billion. They've already made a splash by acquiring Scopely, the makers of the hit
I'm
game.
curious if that's really going to work out, because I feel like with like the way that technology automation is like evolving, I wonder if they're really going to be able to create that many jobs and if the economy can support that many extra companies. I really don't know. I lean towards no, right? Like I do. I lean towards no. But I don't know. They're getting into AI too? Of course.
Monopoly Go, a game that made over $1 billion in revenue since
this shit, by the way, is fucking crazy. Monopoly Go clears so many other games.
Launched in April 2023. Savvy CEO Mr. Ward puts it boldly.
Mandate from the board is build the world's #1 global games company.
And the stage for this grand gaming ecosystem, CatDany City, the world's first gaming and esports district. With its 500,000 square meters, it'll be home to 25 esports clubs and 30 game companies. And
I mean, I'll tell you guys this. I would love to go there. I think this looks like Night City to me. This is fucking badass. This is so cool.
Besides the largest fountain, the largest
like I feel the same way, by the way, about like going to Beijing or Hong Kong or New York. Like, or Dubai. Yeah, it'd be fucking awesome. Like, I'm a guy that, like, at 3 in the morning, yeah, I want to be able to go out and just, like, hang out and do whatever.
The largest desert and the largest oil reserve in the world. It'll have the largest esports arena, too. You see, MBS, or Mr. Everything, is very serious about this. But with such hefty investments, he's often asked,
what do you say to the people who charge that that's part of sports washing?
Well, if sport washing gonna increase my GDP by 1%, and then I will continue doing sport washing.
Oh, there it is. Shit.
You're okay with that term?
I don't care. I have 1% growth of GDP from sport, and I'm aiming.
There it is. I don't care.
For another 1.5%. Call it whatever you want. We're gonna get that 1.5%.
An honest response.
Remember what I said before about how people value strength, directness, and honesty more than anything else? Remember why I said that? I mean, fuck. It's crazy how obvious it is. Real businessman? Well, yeah, I mean, of course, right? Because, yeah, it makes sense. I think that he knows that, like, you know, like what is he? He's probably like, what, in his 40s, right? Like late 30s, like early 40s, somewhere around there. That's what I would guess. Like, he's got another 30 to 40 years, 37, right? Yeah, 38. Yeah, so he's got another probably 30 to 40 years, if not more, right? Probably more. I mean, he's going to have the best access to medical treatment out there. He's not a stupid dude, man. He's seen, like, this guy, like, I mean, because he's a bit older than I am, right? Like, he remembers whenever they didn't have the internet. And now we have this shit. You're going to be... You dumb as hell. You think this shit isn't exactly about what's going to happen. Yeah, he can see absolutely where things are going.
His focus is obviously on growth, not on critics' perceptions. It's a pretty pragmatic stance, I have to admit. And you know, sports washing, greenwashing, whitewashing, esports washing, you name it. It's a tactic as old as time, known as bread and circuses, to distract from issues with food and entertainment. It's the oldest playbook in the world, and one that we in the West are no strangers to either. Western countries use events for similar purposes. Our forms of washing might be more subtle, but they exist. The main difference between them and us is that Saudi Arabian investments in esports...
They don't say sorry. That's the difference.
...are directly orchestrated by the state, not by some private corporate entity. It's not just funding, it's a state action which can buy silence and complicity over very severe internal issues. Issues around human, women, and migrant workers' rights. Death penalties based on social media activities. Murder of...
Oh yeah, and this happens, by the way, a lot of this kind of stuff happens in places like China too, and other countries as well. But when the countries are influential enough, it just doesn't really matter. UK soon?
Mass starvation.
Yeah, soon in UK, they're going to put you in jail for saying that you're straight. That's going to happen after the next election.
In Yemen, infamous anti-corruption purges, and the list goes on. Saudi Arabia's approach to power and control is obvious, and one might wonder how this paves the way for an esports monopoly. We've seen this play out before. Take the PGA versus LIV golf situation. PIF funds LIV, a competitor to the PGA, and lures top golfers away from there with unprecedented cash prizes, ultimately forcing a PGA-LIV merger.
How the Saudis are taking over not just a team, but the entire sport.
Or Newcastle United, 80% owned by the PIF. Their third kit started to mirror Saudi national colors, fans started to wear Saudi-inspired headdresses, and the club entered a partnership with Noon.com, a major Amazon rival in Saudi Arabia. All to further blend the club's identity with Saudi interests. Let's take a look at Vice Media. After the journalists' murder, Vice pulled back from Saudi Arabia, but later entered a $1 million deal with them, as it was
So, yeah, I mean, you killed our journalists, but how much? Really? Oh. That's... wow.
Facing bankruptcy. What followed was Vice pulling down a documentary from YouTube that was critical of Saudi Arabia.
Oh, God.
He definitely lives this kind of crazy lifestyle where...
Now, what about Saudi's impact in the gaming world? Well, let's look at Embracer Group. After a $2 billion deal with Savvy Games Group inexplicably collapsed, the gigantic video game conglomerate had to dramatically restructure.
Embracer Group, the only thing they're embracing is entropy. I feel like every single time that I hear about them, it's something that's bad. Like, really, like, every time, like, oh, they're canceling another game, they're getting rid of another company. Yeah, it's bad, man. I don't know like, who the fuck is running things over there? They're really fucking up.
Close studios, cancel projects, cut jobs across the board, including Saints Row Studio Volition. In 2020, Riot Games dropped Saudi's Neon project as a sponsor after backlash over LGBTQ rights. But now, it seems Riot's stance is changing. Riot confirmed...
That's right. That's right. Well, you know, like, I mean, you know, it's just the way it is. Yeah. That's just the way it is. And to be fair, I also want to say that Saudi Arabia is also changing as well. The world is changing. It's not like it's just one side. Like, yeah, they're getting money, right? But Saudi Arabia as a culture is changing as well.
That it is in talks with Saudi's Esports World Cup to allow 2 teams from each of its leagues to participate. It's pretty clear that the attitude about doing business with Saudi Arabia is changing among esports organizations. Even content creators who would have avoided promoting projects like Esports World Cup, Neom, and Kidia are promoting the projects without...
Well, I don't know if we're going to talk about would have avoided. I mean, did Scump say he was going to avoid it? I mean, I don't think he said he would have avoided it. I mean, this guy, like, dude, some of his biggest streams are like him watching events. Fuck. Like, I mean, it's smart for him to do that.
Like Esports World Cup, Neom, and Kidia are promoting these projects without fear of backlash.
It's like a multi-event or multi-game event, and it's like just the Esports World Cup.
In fact, many prominent names from the gaming world attended the new Global Sport Conference in Riyadh last year. Savvy Games Group, Sony, Sega, Take-Two, Ubisoft, you name it, and others.
Ubisoft, remember Ubisoft? That's crazy, huh?
All showed up. Saudi money then is already changing the gaming industry just as it's changing sports and culture. If taken to an extreme, we could see game content and esports rules starting to align more with Saudi cultural and political views. We could see tournaments.
That's right. That's right. Every game will now be Saudi Arabia culture. That's right. Oh boy. Oh boy. I can't wait. Oh man, I just, this is gonna be nuts, man. Like, better than waifu culture? Man, you really need to see that guy's profile picture. You really, man, that's, you're really in for a shock.
Favoring Saudi-backed teams and games. We're already seeing signs of this influence. Take the Gamers 8 tournament for CSGO. Team Falcons, a Saudi-owned team, made an appearance despite not usually qualifying for S-tier tournaments.
Everyone's assuming oil money.
I don't like people judging us.
I don't know, bro.
And while the Gamers 8 bread and circus was going on, Saudi border guards were systematically killing hundreds of Ethiopian asylum seekers. And those involved
Ethiopian is, okay.
in these killings are the same ones organizing these events.
Yeah.
There is much silence around this, but one of the few to comment on this issue was Team Liquid. On X, their post reads that Saudi Arabia's laws do not line up with our values of the esports community. Team Liquid still participated in the Gamers 8 CSGO event, and their CEO produced a 4-minute video explaining why.
We are here today to talk about Team Liquid's participation at the Gamers 8 events in Riyadh.
It is tricky indeed. The responses under the video range from skepticism to...
I'm gonna watch it. I want to watch it. I want to watch it right now. As part of our continuing conversation, what a interesting...
We are here today to talk about Team Liquid's participation at the Gamers 8 events in Riyadh. As you might know, there's been more and more investment coming from the Middle East into esports in recent times. Team Liquid and many other organizations are caught a little bit in the middle of all of this. It puts us in a very difficult spot and a difficult position because we are aware that there's still many human rights issues in the region. This could be related to, for example, challenges with the LGBTQIA+ community, or could be related to the kafala system that's still so common in countries in this region.
But
we've always been outspoken on many of these rights, many of these values when it comes to Team Liquid. And we feel as strongly and are as convinced about all of these things today as we've always been. And that, of course, makes it very tricky for us to participate in these events. The reality of the situation...
Okay. The reality of the situation. Let's hear about the reality.
And is also that this is really a shift in the ecosystem of esports. These are not one-offs. There's times in sports where a regional organization, they get to participate one time in a region like this, and they get to say...
He's saying that we can lose some money, but we don't want to lose a lot of money.
Yes, or they get to say no. But whatever their answer might be, it's business as usual after. That's not necessarily the case for Team Liquid and other organizations within esports. This is a global industry with activity throughout all of the different continents, all of the different countries. And so, for example, for Team Liquid, When we look at a decision like this to participate, there's many things that we need to take into account. So first of
accounting, many things. Uh-huh. Why are we... Let's keep going.
Foremost, this event, Gamers 8, is really being built to be the new World Championships of esports. The money that's flowing in from a prize money perspective, a participation perspective, it is absolutely enormous. In a way, if Team Liquid does...
There's a lot of money. There is, and I've heard about that. There is a lot of money.
Perspective, it is absolutely enormous. In a way, if Team Liquid does not participate, it leads to all sorts of challenges. A quick and easy example would be when Team Liquid is trying to make a roster change and attract new talent to the organization. Yeah. This talent will want to play in the biggest events on the planet.
And this is how it works, right? Is because, like, why would you want to, like, if you're a young buck, if you're a 22-year-old esports prodigy, you can click like nobody else can click. Why would you want to join a league that prioritizes its public image over the fact that you want to be an international superstar? Think about it. 22 is old. I don't know. I mean, I feel like at that point, like because I feel like 19, you're good, but I feel like there's plenty of guys that are older in esports that are really good. I do. I see it a lot more now.
If Team Liquid's answer is we don't play at these events, it will be a real challenge for us to either maintain top talent or attract top talent to Team Liquid.
Yep.
And truth be told, for better or worse, I do not see...
So we don't hate gay people. Our talent do. And so we have to hate gay people because our talent hates gay people. Interesting strategy.
A path, or I do not see a future for an organization within esports to stay at the top tier and not participating in any of these events. These are tough decisions, and we will stand for our values, we will stand by our values, and we will continue to express those values.
How?
Whether it's during these events or related to our participation. We have no issues or qualms calling out the human rights issues in the region. In the end, we are making these decisions for the health of our company. That's definitely true. And we understand that may not be good enough for some of you, but we hope that there's some understanding of the situation that we are in. When it comes to what we stand for...
What a stupid video to make. Why would you make a video like this? You know you're selling out for money. Just do it. Don't try to rationalize it. Just be like, listen, like, we're doing it. Like, you want to know why we haven't done another episode of Pixel Pitch, guys? Our sponsor contract ran out, and we're re-renewing, and we're trying to figure out who we're going to get for a new sponsor. It's 'cause we want to make money on the show, and we need to pay production. Like, that's the reason why we haven't done a new one. Yeah, I did DM MBS. Hey, man, I've got an idea.
For some of our values are diversity, inclusion, authenticity.
Yeah, right.
Ultimately, what's most important and what it all comes back to is that we believe anyone, any individual should be allowed to just be themselves. And that is something that we deeply believe in.
True.
That's not necessarily always the case.
It's not always the case. We don't always believe in this. That's true. You don't always believe in it. But ideally, you do.
In all countries, all regions. And so that is one of the challenges that we have with regards to participating in Gamers 8. We will always continue to adhere to these values to the best of our ability. And where possible, and if possible, we will try and help out and do some good. For example, related to the war in Ukraine, we opened up our apartments in the Netherlands and had over 15 individuals and families come here for a place of safety. We've always supported the LGBTQIA rights all over the world for as long as I can remember. We picked up a women's Valorant team to hope to help improve diversity and inclusion within the industry. We will continue to do all of those things. And related to our participation...
You're not going to do any of those things if they're going to cause you to lose money. You're doing it because you can make money doing it. Like, what I don't like about this is that, let me finish. It's 10 seconds until it finishes.
In Gamers 8, we will be donating a portion of our prize pool to a charity that helps with issues in the region. We're going to continue sharing our thoughts on human rights issues, and where possible, help achieve some progress.
What did you say earlier about people not caring about human rights? Well,
we are here today to talk about Team Liquid's...
I find it to be, like, it's crazy to me that you would have the audacity to do this and make a video about this and then have your name and your logo be a rainbow. This is crazy. Like, it's actually, like, how is this possible? It's just virtue signaling, and it's just, it's so blatant, and it's so cynical that I can't even believe that it exists. How is this? How is this even here? It's so obvious. I know. Don't even make the video. Yeah. You shouldn't have even made the video. This is an esports org. They need to focus on esports or not a human rights service. Exactly. And I don't have a problem with them doing that. Here's what I have a problem with. I have a problem with being patronized to by a company that exists for the sole purpose of making money, that will take no fucking qualms, and well, we don't want to do it. Oh, it's this much money? Okay, then we'll do it. Okay, then you don't care. You don't really care about these issues, but you want to use these issues as tools to advertise your brand. And I'm going to go even farther with this. I think this hurts LGBT issues. It hurts the issues when you have brands that are using it as an advertising play. These brands that are effectively, this is what the brand does. Now, what does a parasite do? Like in like biology, what does a parasite do? It latches onto something and it feeds off of a host. And I want you guys to understand that this is how it happens, okay? And you have, I'm not gonna do the MS Paint of a fucking rainbow flag with a leech on the side of it. I was gonna do that, but then I thought, I don't know how a rainbow works, since it's gonna be a bad drawing. So no, I'm not gonna. I can't do it because I don't know how to make rainbows. So sorry, guys. Is me not knowing how to do a rainbow, is this homophobic? Maybe it is now. Anyway, here's the point. So when they infect this social issue and they latch on to this social issue, and then they pollute that issue with their own brand, their own values, their own controversies, their own drama, and their own issues. So now the idea of LGBT is connected to this brand that has a gray image. And you have effectively taken a good social issue and you have infected it with your brand in order to make money. That's what you've done. And I find this to be very problematic. I'm Dutch, and it's disappointing to see Dutch companies are so fake. It's not being Dutch or anything. Everybody does this. It's not a surprise. And so that's what it's happened. You're right. Team Liquid leeching off of LGBT summarizes it perfectly. And I don't think that Team Liquid should be shit on for this, like, specifically, right? Now, they are all doing this. They're all doing this. They're all doing it. And so what about human rights abuses in China? Is Team Liquid apologizing for that too? No, because the violations in China are not for gay people, and gay people are way more outspoken than people that are against the Chinese government. So it's easier to hand wave the Chinese authoritarianism because it's not part of hating gay people, and hating gay people is seen as worse than government oppression. Because it's all optics, guys. It's all fake. It's all fake. Like the whole thing. Everything is. I don't know. Maybe everybody says I'm going. Everybody says I'm crazy. And the worst thing about it. Here's the worst thing about everybody calling me crazy recently. Is that I think that I've just been becoming more and more sane. And I still have the self-awareness to realize that every crazy person says that. Every nutball says the same thing. And so I get stressed out. But I don't think I am. I really don't. Oh, man. So there's the video.
It is tricky indeed. The responses under the video range from skepticism to calls for boycotts. Reactions that do highlight the struggle to reconcile ethical dilemma and financial interest.
Oh, and by the way, let's look at just real quick. Let's look at the last 10 posts that Team Liquid has made that have had any degree of traction. So that's my esport org. People are happy. Creative. Finally something good. Great day. What a great day to be a Liquid fan. Best org. Hearts. Only thing Team Liquid is winning. There we go. Not necessarily a bit of a sneak diss, but there you go. Second place. Everybody is happy. Everybody is cheering. Look at this. There's literally no negativity for this. There's no negative posts about it. Nobody actually cares. Everybody that was criticizing it, this is bots, by the way. It's obviously bots. GG. Everybody's happy. People are congratulating them. Congratulations. GG. There's nobody who's even bringing up this problem at all. Not even a single fucking person. Nobody gives a fuck. It's just like what I said. There it is. And it's right there directly in front of you. And no, they're not all bots. A year is a long time. Yeah, you see, human rights have a cooldown. It's like 3 days. So you can have a human rights violation, but after 3 days, something else is going to happen. People are going to forget about that.
But then there are some that are pretty clear on where they stand. In 2022, Moist Esports, founded by gamer Moist Critical, refused an invite to Gamers 8's Rocket League tournament, saying, I will not be associating with a country that does not recognize LGBTQ+ people and human beings. Another telling example of the geopolitical complexities happened at Gamers 8 when Israeli players Flamesy, Spinks, and Nerds required constant security due to the tense relations between Israel and Saudi Arabia.
Jesus.
Spinks tweeted after winning the Gamers 8 prize, thanking the security guys. Now, when such geopolitics affect esports...
Well, I can respect anybody making a decision, right? Like, I respect a person who takes the money, and I respect a person who doesn't take the money. What I don't respect is a person who takes the money and says that they're not doing it for money. That's what I don't respect. I hate the doublespeak, I hate the hypocrisy, and I hate the fakeness of it.
Players, you've got to ask, what's the real cost of this involvement?
Yeah.
Time will tell. But on the flip side, I can see how these big investments could actually give esports a boost. As they're pumping in cash for prize pools and big events, it might bring in more eyes on esports altogether. It might pull in new fans, it might offer more chances for players all over the world. For the industry's long-term health, this cash injection might be just what's needed, especially when times are tough. And let's not forget legitimacy. Having big players like Saudi Arabia involved could make esports seem more legit, more like traditional sports. But it is a fine line, balancing growth and keeping true to what esports is all about. And players and organizations tend to forget that they are the ones being used. Look at Manchester City and PSG, founded by Abu Dhabi and Qatar. The more they win, the more people forget about what's really happening behind those borders.
That's right.
Does it mean we should all feel bad now when enjoying esports? Of course not. No one wants to kill the joy that esports brings to the world. It's an escape and it unites us. But games and esports aren't just games and esports. They're not and never will be politically neutral, as much as we might wish they were. And that's why we gotta keep talking about it. Keep the conversations going. Enjoy the sport, but also be aware of the bigger issues at play. And while we do that, we've got to look at ourselves too. As we critique Saudi Arabia, we too have to reflect on our own actions and biases. Because in the world of esports, where culture and politics mix, keeping things fair is everyone's job, not just the job of one singular country.
Yep, there's no way people are going to be able to stop this. That's it. Yeah, it does nothing. Yeah, it's not going to matter. Got the fake shit? Yeah, no, that's just really the way it is. I mean, I think this is a good video. I mean, she summed it up pretty well. And I think, again, it's pretty fucking funny for the prince to just be like, so people are saying you're sports washing.
Who charge that's part of sports washing.
Well, if sport washing gonna increase my GDP by 1%, and then we'll continue doing sport washing.
There it is. And so, yep, there it is. No talking around it, no bullshitting around it, nothing like that. And you gotta respect it. Yeah, there it is. There's the video. Have you seen the Saudi Prince's Valve account? I have. I've seen it. Yeah, absolutely. The honesty honestly touches me. No, I think that, I mean, really, I think that, again, a lot of people people just want to play video games. They don't care about any of this other stuff. Like, they don't care where the video game event is at or anything like. Why would they give a fuck about this? Why would they care about this? It doesn't matter to them. So yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Who cares about human rights? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? And I've said this before. I know people have been upset about it, but it does seem like it does really seem like I keep being right. It seems like I keep being right about this, and it happens over and over and over. And people only act in their own best interest. Check your ego, Asmon. I keep trying to, but I keep being right. I keep being right. It's to be fair, the fact that Zenless Zone Zero did as well as it did, I was like, you fucking kidding me. How did this happen? Yeah. OTK go to Saudi Arabia? OTK, I mean, I don't know about that. Like, here's my perspective, right? Is that I'd be willing to go to the Middle East, sure. Like, absolutely. I think it'd be really cool to go there for no other reason than to see the historical places. I would love to go there. Like, and I feel the same way about a lot of other places, whether it be China or, like places in Europe. Like, I'd love to go to Italy, for example. Like, I would love to go to, like, Venice. Like, that would be amazing. It's just getting there is the problem, right? Like, North Korea. No, it's just, it's too dangerous, man. I mean, I'd love to go to, like Moscow or St. Petersburg in Russia. I would. Like, I mean, some of the countries, they have, like, really oppressive, like, speech laws, and I'd be worried about going. But, like, if that wasn't the case, I would be completely okay with it. South America. I mean, like, I'd love to go to Egypt, right? Like, that'd be really cool. I don't know about a lot of other African countries or South Africa. Like, I don't know. Like, I know that some of them are actually, like, really well developed and they're great, and other ones are South America, Egypt. I think I dyslexia that. I think he said Africa, and I just read it America. But yeah, no, I'd have no problem with that. That'd be fine with me. But yeah. Come to Brazil? Yeah, I know. I'd love to. I'd love to go to Brazil. I think it'd be great.